those things strengthen your self-worth. And when you can change the way you look on the outside, that will change how you feel about yourself on the inside. And it is that feeling, or the way you feel on the inside, that is going to be the most powerful catalyst for a change in your self-confidence. I think the change in the way your body looks is merely a byproduct of the change that's internal. And I really believe that the change internally is more important than the change externally. So I would recommend to you that if you want to start to improve your self-confidence, no matter how small it is, make a change to your workout regimen. And if you don't have one, start one. Take a walk every night. Go to the gym, lift some weights, do it safely, get someone to show you how. But if you do these things incrementally again, you can change the way you view yourself both internally and externally. And that is going to do wonders for your self-confidence. The fourth thing that I would suggest to you to improve your self-confidence is to do things for others. Go out and do something for someone else. And when you go out and do that thing, whatever it is, do it with absolutely zero expectation of a return. I think that is the key with this particular exercise as far as building self-confidence. If you go out and do something with an expectation of a return, you're going to put undue pressure on yourself or the situation to give you something that's going to make you feel better about you. And then if it doesn't happen the way you think it should, then you don't get that validation. So I'm asking you to go out and do something for someone. Maybe you know them, maybe you don't. But I'm asking you to go out and do something for someone else with absolutely no expectation of a return. I'm asking you to go do something for someone where you don't even think or don't even know if you're going to get a thank you, a reply back. If you bought something for somebody, maybe you don't even know if you're going to get paid back, and I would tell you to expect not to. Make this exercise purely about being in the moment and doing something for someone else because you have the ability to do it, not because they have the ability to affirm you or make you feel better about you. If you can go out and give in some way, shape, or form, and you can do it without having to have that instant validation, that thank you, that repayment of some kind, it frees you to simply be in the moment. And when you are in that moment and you see the joy that you've brought to someone, and you see the change that you're able to make in somebody's life, or the situation that you can improve, it does amazing things for your confidence. And it makes you want to do more. And what's so interesting about this exercise is that if you can do this and do this with complete anonymity, so that the person that received your gift or your contribution doesn't even know it was you, it is so much more satisfying, and it is much more confidence building because you get the most pure reaction. You get the truest response to what you've been able to do. And there's nothing better in my mind than being able to help someone else simply because you have the ability to. Not because they can repay you, not because you're going to get recognition, but nothing else except for the joy of seeing that person's face who has been aided by what you did. And I would suggest to you that if you could do this on a regular basis, you would build a tremendous amount of self-worth, confidence, and self-esteem. I used to listen to a Christian comedian His name is Brad Stein. In all of his comedy, he would get to some serious parts of his show and he would say, if you want self-esteem, you don't get that by getting accolades and plaques and attaboys and hand claps. You get that by contributing to others, putting others first, esteeming others before yourself. And I say take that a step further and esteem them and give and do those things. And if you can do it anonymously with no expectation of return, that self-esteem, that self-worth, that self-confidence would grow even more. So I challenge you this week. Find somebody that needs your assistance in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't have to be with money. It could be with prayer. It could be with a gift. It could be that somebody needs help carrying a box into a store. Whatever it is, I challenge you to give beyond yourself this week. And do it with absolutely no expectation of a return. Don't expect a thank you. Don't expect repayment. Just do it. And then continue to do it. And I guarantee you that it will do wonders for your self-worth, your self-esteem, and your self-confidence. The last suggestion that I have for you today might seem overly simplistic. But when you think about the challenges that are in front of you and the things that hold us back, and as it deals with self-confidence, I want you to ask yourself, in whatever situation that you're in, ask yourself honestly, what's the worst that could happen? Seriously ask that question. Having a lack of self-confidence is because we fear failure. We fear non-acceptance. We fear just not being good enough. But in the end, you have to ask yourself, what really is the worst that could happen? Most of the time, the consequences of failure are not as bad as we build them up to be in our mind. In our minds, we often build failure up and we put it together scenarios that are far worse than what actually happens in reality. So take an honest look and really ask yourself that question. If I'm giving a speech and I stutter on a word, what's the worst that's going to happen? Maybe I have to start over. Maybe I have to make a quick joke about the mistake I made. But then you pick up the pieces and you keep going. I can tell you from personal experience that when I've been in situations where I have been deathly afraid to do something, more often than not, the people that you're interacting with, the people that you're afraid to stand in front of, the people that you're afraid to ask that question of, those people are rooting for you. Those people want you to succeed. So ask yourself in that situation, really, what is the worst that could happen? Most of the time, I would tell you that it's not going to be as bad as you think. And when that situation does happen that you are afraid of, because it's going to, if you put yourself out there, if you follow the steps that we've already talked about, you're going to get into a position where you're not going to win every time. That's reality. But I can almost guarantee you that when that situation does finally happen, you're going to look back at it and you're going to say, you know what? It wasn't as bad as I thought. And if you can do that and then learn from that situation, then you haven't failed. You found another better way to move forward. And what's more confidence building than doing it better the next time? Knowing a pitfall and being able to avoid it. We're not always going to get it 100% right. We're human. We're going to make mistakes. But in the end, you have to ask yourself, if this speech isn't perfect, what's the worst that's going to happen? More often than not, the scenario in your mind is far worse than reality. So let's give reality a try. Let's put ourselves out there. And let's build on those small wins, those successes, and build incremental change. I think that's been a theme throughout this entire episode, is incremental change. Use the building blocks of each success to build your self-confidence as you move forward. Thank you so much for listening today. I look forward to being with you again next week. In the meantime, if you've enjoyed this podcast, please take time to rate it and leave comments. I'd also encourage you to hit the subscribe button so you'll always receive the latest episode of Be the Hero when it comes out. Also, I'd like to thank our sponsor, GoTo Designs, for their continued support. As always, if you are looking to increase your presence on the web through building a website, or you need an e-commerce store, or perhaps you just need printed materials, make GoTo Designs your go-to team. That's designs.com. Until next time, my friends, build your self-confidence through incremental change. Push beyond your current limits. Move beyond yourself. Look for opportunities to serve others and be the hero.